Before this video starts, if you enjoyed this video, there are many more like it already on the channel, with many more like it to come in the future, so subscribe. I am trying to hit 125,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would really appreciate it. I upload 6 days a week on this channel, so if you're looking for some consistent basketball talk, this is the place for it. Also, drop a like on this video. It only takes 1 second and makes a massive difference. So, the Boston Celtics ended up beating the Toronto Raptors in Game 7 the other day, but even if they didn't do this, I would still be making this video. I have held an opinion on Pascal Siakam for quite a while. Not a strong opinion, but an opinion. That opinion was, Pascal Siakam is not a real legitimate star. He is a fraud, he is a phony, he is a fake, he's tricked all of us, he's a big fat phony. I have this problem where sometimes I feel a certain way about something, but because I don't feel it that strongly and I know it's controversial, I don't say it because it's like, I don't want to put all this effort and energy into something that I don't feel strongly about. And I should probably fix that because then I'd actually have bragging rights about Pascal not playing good in this year's playoffs. But the point is, Pascal Siakam isn't as good as many people think he is, and I think he proved that in the playoffs this year. Actually, no, I don't think he did. He definitely, basically objectively proved himself to not be as good as many people said. So today, let's talk about why Pascal failed in the playoffs and basically why he's a fraud. Okay, I do want to address something right out of the gate. The thumbnail says that Pascal is not a real star, and that's not really true. I just think a lot of people were pushing him into conversations with players that he did not belong in conversations with, such as the likes of, let's say, Jason Tatum or Ben Simmons. And for me, he is really just barely on the border of players that I would consider to be star-level talents. So he's getting a passing grade at best. And because there were so many people who thought he was on that tier, I didn't even rank him where I really wanted to in my top 50. Now, I made a lot of mistakes in that top 50 to the point where I regret that video, but I put Pascal over Bam, Brandon Ingram, Trae Young, and worst of all, Devin Booker, and I'm going to take that one back. My hottest take in that video that annoyed a lot of people that actually still stand by, even though my reasoning in that video was very piss poor, I believe that Zion is a better player than Pascal Siakam. Now, heavy disclaimer, this is Zion pre the bubble and pre getting really fat. Like, what he did in his first 19 games, Zion, I believe, is a better player than Pascal Siakam. I don't know what the fuck he was in the bubble. The dude basically was a bubble. And looking at my top 50 list, I'd actually move Pascal all the way down to number 35 behind Chris Middleton and Kemba Walker. That's a pretty steep drop off. Honestly, even though I did feel that Pascal was a little overrated, I didn't think he was this overrated, because good God, man. I thought Pascal was a little bit overrated, but he showed in this year's playoffs that he is just straight up not nearly as good as so many people were saying. Like, not even close. In 11 playoff games, which is a legitimate sample size, Siakam averaged 17 points a game on 46% true shooting, which is very, very bad. Comparing that to the regular season, Siakam averaged 23 points on 55% true shooting. So that is a 6 point per game drop off and a 9% drop off in true shooting percentage. As I said, I expected an underperformance, but goddamn, dude. That's just straight up bad. There were many points in this series where I was legitimately thinking, just pull him. He is a negative, so stop playing him. And what's sad is that, like, after game 2, I just expected bad performances every single playoff game. And every time I was right to have expected that. Also, real quick, I do want to pose the question, did Pascal Siakam really improve this year by much? Did he actually? Like, really think about it. Did he improve? Or did he just get more shots? Because looking at his numbers, his points per game went up by 6, but his true shooting percentage went down by 8%. And I feel like that is kind of an even trade-off of production versus efficiency. Even his three-point jump shot, which seemed to have a big improvement, wasn't actually that significant of an improvement. Last year, he shot half the threes on a mildly better percentage while having 97% assisted. This year, he had just 66% of his threes assisted, meaning he was taking more off of the dribble, with more attempts as well. So yes, he did improve, but it's not like Siakam is a good shooter. I'd say he's pretty much average, league average percentage, and I don't know the league average three-point attempts per game for starting players, but I imagine it's fairly close to 6 and definitely around that for star level players. And I did not trust this jump shot whatsoever. He had a decent enough percentage and a good amount of attempts, but just something about it made me not trust it whatsoever. Not reliable to me. It's similar to, like, for example, Al-Farouq Amino. He shot 37% from 3 on 5 attempts for the Portland Trail Blazers in the 2017-18 season, but teams were leaving him wide open in the playoffs. Very often, 3-point percentage doesn't actually reflect how good of a shooter someone is. Like, technically, Siakam and Devin Booker this year both had nearly the same amount of 3-point attempts and essentially the same percentage. But you and I and everybody know that Devin Booker is a far superior 3-point shooter to Pascal Siakam. And once more, Pascal proved my distrust in him to be accurate, because in the playoffs, he shot 19% from 3. So the 3-point jump shot really didn't improve that much, even though, yes, it did improve. But outside of that, where did Pascal Siakam's game get better? He didn't really improve any of his skills from last season. He just shot the ball more. Like, if you look at it, his shooting numbers are down from every spot on the floor across the board. His percentage at the rim dropped by 2%, 3 to 10 feet dropped by 9%, and both 10 to 16 feet and 16 feet to just inside the 3-point line dropped 14 goddamn percent, with his 3 seeing a 1% drop and his overall 2-point percentage seeing a 10% drop. That's not improvement, it's higher volume. And when you take more shots while not improving much, yeah, you're going to average more points, but your efficiency will suffer, as it has for Pascal Siakam. The dude went from one of the best mid-range shooters in the league in terms of percentage to one of the worst as soon as he became a star player and started taking more shots. Now let's take a look at his overall game and why it's pretty fraudulent and why he failed in the playoffs. People say that Pascal Siakam is basically a baby Giannis, and that's not really true. I'd say more like a fetus Giannis, and that's being nice. I can see the comparison because the length as well as how they dribble the ball. Both Siakam and Giannis have this weird way of dribbling where it always looks like they're about to lose the ball, like constantly, and because of that, defenders think they can take advantage, so when they go for it, they can be like, nah, bitch. Another area where Siakam is similar to Giannis is they have similar flaws, except because he is a worse player, he can't even make up for them. Both of their games are very simple. They are lanky, athletic, tall, and they have decent enough handle, and they get to the basket a lot as a result of this and finish pretty well. However, because their games are so simple and they lack ways to create offense in other areas, they are quite easily locked down in comparison to other players on their level. Unfortunately, in the case of Siakam, though, he isn't even a third as physically dominant as Giannis. Pascal makes up for this a bit by having a much better jumper, but the flaw still exists in him. Look, I hate bag Twitter as much as anybody, but there is validity in criticizing both Pascal and Giannis for using the same move all the time. Pascal does a spin move every time he encounters a defense to the point that it has legitimately become a meme. The guy was being called a skinny Julius Randle on Twitter, which is both funny and pretty accurate. The guy's game is just way too simple and not enough physically dominant to be an efficient high-volume scorer in the playoffs. He's not even an efficient high-volume scorer in the regular season because his efficiency was pretty much average this year. And I've had this philosophy for a while that if you suck in the playoffs, then you basically suck. It's why I feel the way I do about Eric Bledsoe. And I'm not going to say that Pascal sucks yet because this is only his first playoffs as the #1 guy. But if this trend continues, then Pascal might just suck. At least, you know, as an offensive player. After all of this, I just have to laugh at the people that thought the Raptors didn't need Kawhi to succeed. Just imagine instead of Pascal taking 16 shots like he did, he gets like 11, and you give the other shots to Kawhi fucking Leonard, especially in the clutch. I think in this series, as well as the Bucks series versus the Heat, they really showed how valuable shot creation is in the NBA. Like, yeah, the other stuff matters, the playmaking, the defense, the shot selection, all of that, but at the end of the day, you need to be able to get a fucking bucket, and if you don't have a guy on your team that can do that under pretty much any circumstance, you're gonna have problems. You have to be very good at the other stuff outside of putting the ball in the basket, both to be a great team and to be a great player. Like, Bam Adebayo is so good at every other aspect of the game that he is a star level player. His scoring is not amazing, but everything else makes up for it. But Pascal isn't amazing at everything else, and there's no elite shot creator on the Raptors to make up for the fact that he isn't an elite shot creator himself. I do want to say that Nick Nurse could have done a better job at getting Siakam some easy offense, putting him in position to succeed. Like, he was posting him up on strong post defenders and having him ISO on great perimeter defenders. Like, dude, try getting him in a pick and roll or something. Also, Siakam was great defensively versus the Celtics. He locked down Jason Tatum on multiple possessions, and that is no easy feat. But as he stands now, I don't think that Pascal can be a legitimately really good 20+ point per game scorer, maybe in the regular season, but not in the playoffs. As for how he fixes that, well, he needs a better post game, a further improved jump shot, and he needs to be a bit more selective with his shot creation. But I also don't think he's going to take big strides in either area. But where he could really improve would be by playing alongside another star player on the perimeter, sort of like, you know, Kawhi Leonard. And that's basically the same thing that I have argued for Giannis. And even though I think that comparison is pretty dumb and surface level, it does work there because Siakam's issues on offense would be fixed by having a legit shot creator on the roster. A guy who can both take the big shots like Kawhi did and also take the defense's focus away from Siakam like Kawhi did. But that is why Pascal Siakam is a fraud, why he struggled in the playoffs. Can we please stop saying that he is on the same level as Jason Tatum? Because no, the fuck he is not. That is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.